Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
If things are in the right direction, would you like to go back to Minnesota?
Oh, man, I stand where I stood, in December. I say I love everything about Minnesota. At the end of the day, the ball's in their court now. If they want me back, So I'm a free agent right now. I have a couple teams that say that they're interested. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of days.
There he is, Patrick Peterson, on his own podcast, expressing his desire to go back to the Vikings. Now, Tyler Conklin kind of said something similar before he signed for $7 million a year with the Jets. So, I was in contact the whole time with the Vikings, but they're broke.
Yeah, they were calling.
They don't have any money left. So, all right, let's. We're going to get into sort of a forward-looking episode here in a second, but this is Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. I'm Phil Mackey. That is Judd Zulgad, longtime lead Vikings beat writer for the Star Tribune and 1500ESPN.com during the Brett Favre era. Declan Goff, our executive producer. And this show is presented by both Surly Brewing Company and TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands that has a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. So since we last spoke on Purple After Dark, another guard has come off the board, Andrew Norwell to the Commanders. So according to Pro Football Focus, the top, I believe, 8 guards are all off the board. And so is the 10th guard. So 9 of the top 10 guards are off the board. I think Trey Turner is the only one still on the board. And then a small handful of the best centers are off the board. J.C. Treader remains on the board. So if the Vikings were planning on, I think what everyone who watches this team the last 5 years was hoping for is, my God, can you just sign an actual veteran to fix the guard and center spots? They haven't done that.
Right.
And they're still trying to figure out their cap situation. They did restructure Harrison Smith to save $6 million, so they're like $2 million below the cap right now. But I think let's frame this episode up. I'll tee it up to you guys this way. We, obviously, if you've been watching and listening to this show the last week, are not fully jiving with what the Vikings have done so far with the Cousins extension that even with that extension that smooths out his cap hit, he's still the 5th highest paid player in the NFL right now, or 6th, I think, with potentially a couple restructures ahead of him to bump him up even higher. So we're just kind of scratching our heads. They're just kind of riding the middle again, and they haven't been above 500 in 800 days. They haven't made any splashes. It just feels kind of stuck. So how would you move forward here? What would make you feel what's done is done? Whether we agree or disagree, what's done is done.
Right. Yeah, you're not
So what would make you feel better about the direction of this team going forward?
So
Judd says nothing, drinks 5 cans of Surly, and passes out.
Well, 5, more than that. So J.C. Treader, who I think is 31, just got let go by the Browns. Veteran center would provide you, in a positive way, an anchor for your line, would make me feel better. When you're going to bring Kirk back, and I say this from a point of not anti-Kirk, but if you're going to have Kirk for the next 2 years as your guy, besides the fact that you clearly have good skill position players around Kirk, which you currently do, I want you to provide him the best line possible. Perfect? That's not possible. But better? Absolutely is.
Yeah.
And so just from a standpoint of if Kirk is going to be a guy that you are committed to for at least 2 more years, which right now you definitely are, you got to give him a chance. And I'm sorry, in my opinion, Garrett Bradbury is not a chance. It's a hope. And it's a hope that's quickly just turned into a bust. Now, if you are thinking to yourself, well, we can start Wyatt Davis, the 2021 third-round pick, who didn't play, basically. We could start him at guard, and so it's going to be Cleveland at left guard and Davis at right guard. Then I want a center who I totally trust and who can help both of them. J.C. Treader fits that mold. So that makes me feel better. Defensively, if you want to win, which I think offensively they're saying we do,
Yeah.
I think you need to find a way to keep Hunter, who is clearly, again, and I mean, this is on both sides, but there's clearly, again, contract problems. I don't like how much I'm being paid. Well, dude, you just signed a contract last spring. But anyway, I don't think trading Danielle Hunter is a great option if you're trying to win. And then I would like to see you sign at least a second wave, not a bad one, but not a star cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's a starting point. That's a starting point, and I don't think that is an impossible ask.
Yeah, I think because you've locked into a couple of years of Kirk Cousins here, it doesn't make sense to now just like kind of rebuild and retool everything around him. If that's where I'm getting hung up on.
Sure.
If you're going to make the decision to bring a veteran quarterback that you think can blossom even more with Kevin O'Connell back into the mix, then you should be doing everything you can to put chips on the table for 2022-23, not ride the middle or strip it down. So trading Danielle Hunter would be almost a complete non-starter for me. Unless some team is giving you two first-round picks and you feel like, oh, man, if we have 3 first-round picks in the next couple of years. But even then, like what's more valuable to a Kirk Cousins-centric win-now Vikings football team in 2022-23? First-round draft picks or 27, 28-year-old cross-your-fingers-on-health Danielle Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
So if you bring back Danielle, all right, now you can now a defense that was ranked, between 20th and 27th in most categories, maybe now with a better pass rush. Because remember, the first half of the season when he was healthy, the Vikings led the NFL in defensive pressures. Yes. They were high up in some situational stats like third downs. So losing him was a huge, huge difference. And I think Mike Zimmer would probably tell you that too, right? Like, hey, everyone's clowning my defense. Well, guess who didn't play the last 2 seasons? Danielle Hunter.
I love that word.
So bring him back. You're in a win-now window. And you brought up the name J.C. Treader. He was just released from Cleveland. He's in his early 30s, so he's definitely no spring chicken, as they say. But Pro Football Focus had him as the 6th best center in the NFL among qualifying centers last year, and there were 40 of them. And Garrett Bradbury was 30th. In terms of pass protection grade, J.C. Treader was 2nd behind Corey Linsley, and Garrett Bradbury was 38th. So if you instantly want to make your offensive line better and just have a better partner for Kirk and a guy that's been in the league for almost a decade that can collaborate with Cousins, that probably has a relationship to some extent with Kwesi, who was in the Browns front office, right? Danielle Hunter staying and J.C. Treader coming in. And I don't want to get people too excited here because I have heard no connection between the Vikings and J.C. Treader other than he's available. But I just don't understand why you would keep Kirk Cousins and then trade Danielle Hunter and or not go after some sort of established badass upgrade at center and or right guard. So, but if they do those things, if they bring in J.C. Treader and they stick with Danielle Hunter and whatever that contract looks like, do I put them above the Buccaneers and the Rams and the Packers in the NFC? Not yet. Right. I need to see something else. I want to see who you're drafting in the first round. What are you going to do with your other cap space? But Harrison Smith's coming back, so if they were looking to strip this thing back, and if they were looking to take a reset year and load up for 2023 with cap space and draft picks, they would have said yes to a Kirk Cousins trade. They wouldn't have restructured Harrison Smith. They would have traded him for like a second-round pick, and they would probably be shopping some of the other veterans like Eric Kendricks.
My mantra for at least today, if not the rest of this week when it comes to the Vikings is this: make it make sense. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, what would make sense? Like, I'm not asking for you to be great. In fact, I don't expect that. But make it make sense. Like right now, and people are like, it's early and blah, 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 but it still usually makes some sense. So that's all I want. And what we just talked about, I think at least gives you a path of, I might not agree with it, but I sort of see it.
Yeah. So Judd, the internet gremlins are hitting you right now. So I don't know if you have to like unplug the gremlin and plug it back in. But Declan,
I'll get out. Yep.
Okay. What would make you feel better about what's happening right now?
2 things. Keeping Danielle Hunter happy. they got to figure out a way to keep their 27-year-old defensive end happy. I get that he's in a rock and a hard place with his contract that he signed, and the team is trying to figure out how to keep him happy, but you have to. He's the most important piece that's not named Justin Jefferson. And if you lose Danielle Hunter, sure, can you go to the draft and find another defensive end because this draft is defensive end happy? Yeah. And there might be a building block there, but he won't be as impactful as Danielle Hunter when he's on the field. We had a great, I don't know if I told you about this, Phil, but 3 weeks ago we had Alex on Vent Line, and Alex is training to be a foot doctor. And he went back and looked at the medical journals of the injuries that Danielle Hunter has had, and what he found in his medical reviews and the peer reviews was that it had like a 2% chance of not coming back healthy. So like both the injuries to his neck and then his pec, those injuries are able to be rehabbed, and most of the time, almost like 95% of the time, those players come back healthy. So I wouldn't be too worried about his injury there. The second thing that I'd love to see the Vikings do, like as we're recording this, Casey Hayward just signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Falcons. Like, how is that not an option for the Vikings? And Casey Hayward was a beast last year, a really solid PFF grade, a reasonable contract. The Falcons are in the same boat as the Vikings when it comes to competing for a Super Bowl and their chance of competing for a Super Bowl. Like, I would have loved a signing like that. That replaces Patrick Peterson. It gives you a really nice, established, solid cornerback that you don't have to be locked into for a long term. I'd love to see them go get one more cornerback and keep Danielle Hunter happy. Those are my two things.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind bringing Patrick Peterson back. I mean, he's gone from being this top end shutdown corner with the Cardinals 5 or 6 years ago to now he's sort of the epitome of a league average cornerback. But the leadership that he brought, and I'm sure some of the guidance for Cam Dantzler, and some of this, like you mentioned Casey Hayward. Some of this is up to the players. If the players. Some of it's money, but some of it's like Casey Hayward just might want to live in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I don't know, and that's what makes it hard too. If you don't like the Jaguars are not a destination for players, but cap space speaks volumes, and so when they go into the offseason with $60 million before restructuring anybody, they can go to a guy like Brandon Scherf and say, "Hey, how would you like to live in Jacksonville?" He's like, "I don't want to. How about $17 million a year?" And, like a private yacht for your family or something. And he can say, oh, that Jacksonville sounds nice this time of year. But I think the other thing I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around here, too, is do they think that, and we talked about this on Mackey and Judd today, but do they think that we can kind of keep the roster pretty similar? Let's bring Kirk back, and maybe we can find a couple little upgrades in the margins here. We can swap out Michael Pierce for Harrison Phillips, and maybe we can find some depth at guard, but mostly we think we can go from 8-9 wins all the way up to 11-12 wins by just swapping out Mike Zimmer for Kevin O'Connell. That's where the rhetoric feels like it's headed to me. Just even the way that Mark Wilf and Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell spoke to the media in their press conferences, and it was all these little remarks about the culture, and Kevin O'Connell went out of his way to say, I won't bring a coach on board that doesn't know how to build great relationships with players, right? And by the way, I'm drinking all of this Kool-Aid and I'm all in on it.
Absolutely.
But I just get worried that they're looking at this Rubik's Cube and they're saying, you know what, Mike Zimmer was an idiot. He couldn't solve the Rubik's Cube, even though Mike Zimmer 4 years ago was great at Rubik's Cubes. Going to the NFC Championship game, Kevin O'Connell is going to take the same Rubik's Cube and he's going to be great with it. I almost feel like they're going too far in that direction. This roster is older now than it was a year ago and 2 years ago. It's largely the same, and they haven't been above 500 in 800 days. So go get an impactful player in J.C. Treader. Keep an impactful player on your team and cross your fingers for health in Danielle Hunter, and then we can have a conversation about competing for a deep playoff run.
I think with the rhetoric of Kevin O'Connell making you better, like if the Vikings were a 9-10 win team, right, that was like that wild card team and out and like good teams but never great, I think get down with the rhetoric of, no, this is going to be the guy that brings us to the next level. But going from a 6-7 win team to a double-digit win team with that type of rhetoric, those ends don't justify the means to me. And that's just such a far-fetched assumption to make. I think in 1 year from Zimmer out and O'Connell in, maybe 2 to 3 years from now they'll be, but not from a year-to-year jump. See if Judd's back here.
All right, let's test Judd's internet here.
How's that working, boys?
All right. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
I rebooted the
Thought it
whole
was
system.
good.
Oh, no.
What's
I think
up?
you're still frozen. Okay, why don't you give us a 10-second hot take about anything you want, and let's test your internet here.
All right, my 10-second hot take is this. Hopefully this works, because I want to talk to you about my weight loss.
There. Okay, that's good. Do that.
Okay. Down 30 plus pounds thanks to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. I said centers. I didn't say diet place. I said a center because they're going to help you continue to keep that weight off. And the offer now is the I Did It 8-week challenge, in which you get your first 8 weeks for free. 855-GO Livia, Livea, Livia, Livea.com. You got to check them out, because if you do, much like Judd, you can lose the weight. And just for a reference point, in those first 8 weeks, I lost 26 pounds. Imagine being down 26 pounds in just 8 weeks. Springtime comes and all your clothes fit after a long winter indoors on the couch. Livia.com is the key for you.
Yes. All right. Your gremlins are still gremlining, but stay on board here, because I think you're good enough to at least compete. And this might help Declan, because we're going to get to random Viking of the week.
Oh, boy.
And maybe if your internet is cutting out, it gives Declan a better chance to close the gap here.
Okay.
So stay on board here. But let's also say hi to our friends at Dennis Kirk. So if you like to ride, and you can smell that spring weather in the air, riding season. If you're a motorcycle gal or guy, you can get what you need: parts, accessories, apparel at DennisKirk.com. And whatever you ride, whether it's a Harley, a Metric Cruiser, a sport bike, an Indian, you'll find what you need in terms of 160,000 parts in stock, free returns on helmets and apparel, and free shipping on orders over $89. Show us your rides if you are into riding. DennisKirk.com. Send us a picture of your bike. We'd like to see those too. Show us your cans. All right, let's get to it here. It's the random Viking of the week.
All right.
Nice.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
See if Judd's internet's ready for it. So here's how this works. I throw out a series of clues. You guys can answer at any time with a guess. You get up to 3 incorrect guesses, and then it's goodbye. You can ask me questions too, but I can refuse to answer if I want. Judd has a 17-10 lead over Declan in his career in Random Viking of the Week. The last handful of Random Vikings: Visante Shanko, Chris Kluwe, Jermaine Wiggins, John Carlson, Jarek McKinnon, and Toby Gerhart. Judd has a 2-game winning streak. Here we go. This Random Viking of the Week originally hails from Shreveport, Louisiana. That's the same hometown, by the way, as Terry Bradshaw and Tommy Maddox, 2 legendary Steelers quarterbacks.
XFL.
This Random Viking of the Week played college football in the Pac-12. So going all the way from East Coast to West Coast. On horseback. This Random Viking of the Week had 3 head coaches in the NFL: Gary Kubiak, Brad Childress, and Jeff Fisher. 3 football guys, 2 glorious mustaches, 3 football guys.
In that order, Phil?
No,
Okay.
not in that order. Maybe later I'll tell you the order.
Thank you. Okay.
Stick around and find out. All right, this Random Viking of the Week was widely considered one of the best players in the country at his position in college. This Random Viking of the Week was part of 2 Rose Bowl winning teams. Declan's straining right now. Are you okay?
Yeah.
All right.
2 rows.
This Random Viking of the Week was a 5th-round draft pick. And I'll even add this. This Random Viking of the Week actually left high school a year early to play college football because he had accumulated enough credits to graduate high school in 3 years. Crazy. This random Viking of the week was drafted by the Vikings, but never actually played a snap in the NFL.
What?
At least not in a regular season game.
I got to guess. John David Booty.
Hey!
Oh, let's go!
So he played for Jeff Fisher? Wow, that's great.
Titans Jeff Fisher. Yeah.
The Rose Bowl. I knew it was USC, but I was like, well, then who the...
17-11. Here we go.
JDB.
Declan,
How's my connection now?
cashing in. I think it's good now.
Yeah, I think it's good now.
Because I did reboot the whole system.
No, you're good now.
Yeah.
I think you're
Don't-
you're good.
Don't deteriorate from my win. This John David
Oh,
Booty got
sorry,
the win.
sorry.
Are you
Yeah.
trying to claim that your
Yeah.
connection did you try to guess JDB 5 times in your connection?
No,
cut
no,
out?
no. I wouldn't have got that one. I didn't know about him graduating
Yeah, me neither.
high school early.
I didn't know that
think I
part.
ever knew
John David Booty, man, spent 3. So he threw 7 touchdowns. I think that record still stands. He's the only quarterback to throw 7 career touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, over 2 Rose Bowls. He threw for like 400 yards and 4 tuds in a Rose Bowl one time. Just ridiculous.
Nice.
Since you we kind of your internet hijacked your time for takes. Do you have any other thoughts on
off.
just like where you want to
No.
see?
No.
the Vikings
I
go
gave you
here?
my thoughts. I really don't. Like, at this point in time, I remain perplexed and I guess somewhat frustrated.
Yeah.
But I really don't have a lot. Like, I don't have more takes to bring about until this plays out a bit more. The Hunter thing I find to be very confusing.
Yeah.
Like, you did that contract last, I think it was June or May or something, or May. Why is this a problem again? And seemingly now it's holding up opportunities to explore the market. And yes, they've had changes, but Brzezinski is still there, and he's the guy that did this contract. And so, like, the one thing I thought might be fairly flawless, Phil, was not the players wouldn't want new contracts, but it was the situation like with this one, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rob did this contract. There's no coming back and saying, you screwed us. You signed a contract with Rob.
Yeah.
So anyway, but no, I'm going to withhold my hot takes until I see things unfold more. And Kwesi and O'Connell are going to speak today at 3:00. They're going to introduce Harrison Phillips and the linebacker that they signed from the Cardinals.
That'll be interesting. Also, we answered this question on Mackie and Judd, but it is worth, because there are a lot of Vikings fans who are kind of wondering, hey, now that Deshaun Watson has said no to the Browns and they've got to sort of revisit this Baker Mayfield thing, and they've said, no, Baker's our guy. We were only interested in Deshaun Watson, which is BS. They were having conversations about Kirk Cousins too.
They're going to move on from Baker still, I think.
So, but now they got to be like, no, we love Baker. Get an extra pick for him. So people are asking, well, couldn't you reopen those conversations? Would Kirk waive his no trade clause to go to Cleveland? First of all, that ship has completely sailed. Second of all, he has a no trade clause, so he gets to decide over the next 2 seasons if and when he gets dealt. And third of all, according to the cap website, Spotrac and Over the Cap, because they signed this new contract, they're on the hook for like $80 million in dead cap. So you would just be like, you could trade him, but like you'd be on the hook for all this cap money. And next year, you would be on the hook for $50 million in dead cap. So he's your quarterback.
Yeah,
For 2022-23, there's no real way around it. Maybe after this season, there's a way around it if he wants to go somewhere, but not. I mean, he's your quarterback in 2022.
Yes.
So get over it, people. Okay?
Yeah. Kirk's your guy. We've been telling you that on Purple Daily for how long?
Who's got 2 thumbs and a franchise quarterback? This guy right here. That's right.
Yeah.
You like that? You like that?
That's right.
Although the Cousins
who's got
would like to break both of those thumbs, to be very clear, but that's a whole other topic.
Who's got 2 thumbs and a favorite beer?
Oh, let's see. This guy? That's exactly right. In fact, let me tell you. Excuse me, I got a little something stuck in my throat here. I got to clean my throat. In fact, do you know what would be great for that? A parched guy? A Surly Furious. Like right now, this is where I could use a can of cold Surly Furious sitting right by me to take a swig, and not just to get this thing stuck out of my throat, but to enjoy the taste of the finest IPA around. Surly Furious. When it comes to the free agency at your bar liquor store, there's only one to sign the star player. Make it a Surly Brewing product, and in particular, a Furious.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
You know, Federated's been around for over 100 years, and they also support us inexplicably on Purple Daily and Mackey and Judd and Score North.
We need them.
Yeah. And they also, if you're a Minnesota sports fan, they've been partners with the Timberwolves, with the United, with the University of Minnesota for a number of years. So they're definitely ingrained in the Minnesota sports community. And you can get them ingrained in your business, helping protect against risks and maximize the potential success of your business. FederatedInsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
Football.
All right. And so we wait as the clock ticks. They've got until Sunday to figure out what to do with Danielle Hunter before that roster bonus kicks in, if they want to save some cap space. And they've got some other contracts that are sort of up in the air. Thielen, Kendricks, they restructured Harrison Smith. So we will keep you posted on Purple Daily, Daily Vikings entertainment, speculation, therapy. See you guys.